Hello, and a warm welcome to a new episode of the Time to Thrive series. This is a series designed to help you release any block you have, grow an unstoppable mindset to create the life, love, purpose, and prosperity you always wanted. And since it's your time to thrive, today I want you to get inspired and reconnect with your feminine power and find alignment inside yourself. And in order to do that, I invited a very special guest, Jonita D'souza. Born in India, settled in England, Jonita D'souza is a self-leadership mentor for women, a feminine lifestyle and creatress of feminine empress codes, assisting modern-day busy women who struggle with burnout, body love, and authentic expression to reconnect with their feminine and sensual energy using the ancient feminine Taoist Tantric somatic arts so that they can create a lifestyle that is fulfilling, nurturing, and pleasurable. Jonita is also a certified life coach, NLP practitioner, master hypnotherapist, and combines the teachings of Indian feminine mysticism and shamanism in her work, facilitating monthly moon circles, online workshops, and sacred feminine retreats. Jonita, what a pleasure to have you here today.
Yes, thank you so much, Alina. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for creating this platform for such an important conversation. I'm so happy.
Thank you. So you are such a wonderful such a wonderful and meaning journey. Can you share a bit more about your own becoming? How did you get on this path?
Yeah, so as you mentioned in your bio, in my bio, that I was born in India, and I spent the first 16 years of my life in India. So I was born and raised in a very remote islands, in tropical remote islands. So small community, and not quite big exposure to the city life or the big world. However, I was really blessed to have a father who instilled in me the notion of becoming an independent woman. So he always, I suppose, looking at what was going on around, he always instilled that for you to become an independent woman in this society, you have to be financially secure. So that was his mentality. So all my focus was like studying well and getting a high paid job, and then I become an independent woman. And and I'm talking 80s, so this was quite a patriarchal society, and I was born in a very privileged family. I ended up becoming an IT engineer, like many Indians do, and at the age of 21. And I was, in good position, and I was in the boardroom with plenty of men. And, there's this whole facade of putting up a mask to protect myself as this vulnerable girl started then. And I was thinking that this is it, dream come true. I've secured a good position, I have money coming in, I am 21, I have everything that I want, and I'm independent. And I had been an introvert all my life, so expressing and voicing my opinion in specifically in a gathering, even if it was family gathering, was difficult for me to do it. So you can imagine how my situation was in a boardroom full of serious men. And so I would never speak, and I just started feeling that I had something to say. However, I do not feel comfortable to express, and I did not feel comfortable to be the loudest one, to be heard, to be seen, to be recognized, to be appreciated for my work. So there was this conflict that I was good, but I didn't know how to express my goodness. And soon I started feeling that this is not what independence means. I cannot express myself. I don't know how to express myself. And so growing up, I also had the influence of the Western world, through MTV and Hollywood movies. So I would look at the women from the West, and specifically the white women, and I would feel like, wow, these women are free. They can wear whatever they want. They have access to so many things. They can explore themselves. They can have fun. They can walk in the streets without feeling unsafe, like how my case was in India at that time. So I thought, all right, I need to go to the West, because maybe then I will become an independent woman. so 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 in 2006 I moved to UK, and I started living there. I had an opportunity to move to UK, and I started working there, and life was good. I started to feel free in my expression, and everything was good, except that I found myself in the company of women, and I say it with so much respect to them. It felt really sad to recognize after some time that we all were so busy in looking good and fixing everything that we could from the outside, so that we are seen and taken seriously, so that we are appreciated, so that we are appreciated in our social circles, in our work environment. So it was a lot of programming to do, but on the outside. And inside, we all still felt hollow, including those white women that I was wondering that they were free. And when you have those girls' night out on those occasional weekends, you get to talk and you get to feel. So I got a sense that, wow, these women are not free, and they are tired to do the sexy and not be the sexy. They're tired of doing the good woman attitude. So it was really conflicting. I didn't know what to do, and I was so young. I had no idea. I felt clueless. I thought East is not good, West is confused. Where do I go? I don't know. And that was the time, I think, my confusion was answered by the divine through a series of dark moments in my life. That was a time when my father passed away, which was really, really hard for me to really integrate. Oh my God, I lost this person who was my cheerleader. And my body started to crumble down. I started experiencing an autoimmune disease. I had psoriasis all over my body. So it was just a total nightmare. And I was so confused. I just did not know what to do and why all of this was happening to me. Why was I being punished by God? And on top of that, my social circle was becoming more of, drinking and binging on alcohol on weekends, and then going back to work Monday to Friday. So it was all so meaningless. And that's when my quest to really figure out what it really means to grow as a woman began. And eventually I was led to some beautiful women doing this work. And that's how my personal journey started. And eventually it led into becoming a company, which was never even imagined or ought for, but here we are.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. What a beautiful story and powerful. And I have a question now linked to this, because it's super interesting, how our body is talking to us, and that you experience like you were talking oh, I had the psoriasis all over. So how did your psoriasis go away?
So yeah, this is really interesting. Thank you for asking that, because this was so crucial in my journey. So I was going through a very depressive stage after my father's death, and I was kind of in a place where I didn't know how to grieve. However, I had to stay strong for my family. And at the time, I was given a book called The Art of Happiness by Dalai Lama. And he said in that there was some quotes sometimes the loss of your dear one could be the greatest gift in your life. And that made me mad. That made me so angry. And I was angry at God, and I was angry at everything. that why do I have to go through this in order to find a gift? I don't want any gift. I want my father back. What the hell is this? So I started being a very angry and depressed person. And the next phase was this psoriasis coming out of my body, this my skin tearing off. So I started doing a lot of blood reports, went to some Chinese therapy, and like nothing was working. I was on heavy steroids. It was just becoming more and more painful. And I was really in desperate situation when one of my friends recommended an herbalist to work with. And this herbalist was a lady who combined herbs, nutrition, with along with emotions. So we started exploring the dietary factor, the nutrition factor, and then when we came to the the emotion bit, what was revealed to me that I was not feeling safe in my body. And this was revelatory for me, because I then knew what I had to work on and what I had to hone. And the more I started working on my emotion, or my emotions of feeling unsafe and insecure in this world, I could see my skin coming back to life. And it was magical experience. The next 6 months was a magical healing experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm having goosebumps.
Yeah, I'm becoming emotional.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, because yeah, it's so unbelievable how many times our body is just communicating and we are like, shut up. I don't want to hear from you. And it goes to a stage where it's just shouting, and you either look at it, either you put all this like drugs and surgeries and whatever to have the surgery and make it work when it's never going to go away. So
yeah, we are so used to temporary fixing situation, and all of those, Western medicine has given us that ability to fix a problem. However, it's never a permanent problem if we really look into it.
oh, absolutely, I'm a big believer of that. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I love to know, like, because you were talking about like femininity, um and femininity, sorry. And you support women get into their feminine. So can you explain a bit what is this all about, getting in touch with your femininity, and how can someone get in touch with their feminine side?
Yeah. So one of the things that we get to see, and I think feel into when we talk about the word feminine, is sexy, pink high heels and makeup and nails and all of that. And that's what we've been taught. When you Google it, that's what you see. So for a woman to be feminine, comes like very naturally. And what we've been taught is the very external part of it, which I was telling you that I observed women around me, like, we do everything to look good and feel good from the outside. And in its basic meaning, femininity is a principle, it's an energy. And this energy exists like a reservoir inside a woman's body. Whether you are a girly girl or a tomboyish girl, doesn't really matter. There is a big deep reservoir of feminine energy in a woman's body, and it's given for a purpose. And so the feminine energy is pretty much connecting to the feminine energy is pretty much about connecting to the parts of our feminine body that then reveal important wisdom to us, through which we can make choices and decisions of our life. What we do, and then some women, when I work with them, they tell me that, yeah, but I don't know what my body is telling me, or I don't know how to access this wisdom. And I don't really believe this, because our body always speaks. What is our problem usually is, and I've been there for so long in the past, that we actually don't want to listen. The body always speaks, but we just don't want to listen because we don't know how to handle that wisdom. So the feminine and energy pretty much asks us, women specifically, to make changes in our lifestyle, to make changes in our physical energy body, and emotional shifts in our lifestyle. To make certain physical changes, to make certain energetic changes, to make certain emotional shifts in our lifestyle. And when we do that, we tap into our feminine essence. And this, yes, means that we've got to shift our priorities of our own lives to make it more nurturing as well as fulfilling. So it's a whole another science that exists inside of us, which is self-healing, which is really wise, which is beautiful, which is wild, which is dark. There are so many shades inside of us. And then we get to feel safe in our body when we give attention to this.
Thank you for sharing and talking about this dark energy, that dark side that you are talking about. What does this really mean when you talk about like the dark feminine? What do you mean?
So I'm so glad that you're asking this, because we hear a very little about it when we begin our personal growth or personal development. We've been taught to say affirmations, feel good, be positive, and we get to do all of those things, and then we find ourselves one day in a situation where we are not feeling good, we are not feeling positive, and we don't want to do affirmations, and then we start feeling guilty about it, or start thinking, what is wrong with us, why can't we fix ourselves? So what I also have noticed throughout my personal experience and the work that I've done is that that the entry to the personal development industry itself is a very masculine structure to begin with. And when you go past that and dive into the feminine mysteries, the feminine art, the ancient wisdom, we will notice that our negative emotions are given a lot of importance, not for it to manifest as negative energy in our life, but to look at it as something powerful, an important message. So the dark feminine energy is pretty much that aspect of us, inside of us, which has not yet been seen. And it's different from shadow feminine. I see many people getting confused because shadow feminine is the distorted part of the feminine, the unhealthy part of the feminine, the toxic part of the feminine, which is like being needy and emotional and manipulative. So those are the distorted feminine traits, whereas the dark feminine is a voice inside of us which wants to be seen, heard, felt, and we don't have to show it to the rest of the world. It's not for the rest of the world, it's for us, because the dark feminine shows where we are not utilizing our power, where we are suppressing our power. And that's why there are, plenty of in goddess mythology all over the world, you see that dark goddesses were revered for this reason, because they mirrored to us something that is in our own psyche, like the Mary Magdalene, Lilith, Inanna. There are so many others like Kali. So it's nothing to fear, but to embrace.
Thank you so much for sharing. This is so interesting. And I love if you can give like an example of, okay, what is a dark feminine part, and how can I connect with that? How can I look at it? What do I do with that?
Yes. So one of the most common dark feminine energy, the dark feminine vibe I see in working with women is this deep-seated, unexpressed anger. So this is in most of us women. And when we start doing this emotional healing work, what really happens is that a lot of anger starts to come in, like they start to bubble up. And when it happened to me, I was so confused, because I thought that I'm working on myself, so things have to be like nice and happy and positive and expansive. Yet the more I was working on healing my issues around insecurity and safety, I was feeling more and more anger. The more I was feeling my womb, the more anger I was feeling. And I thought I was going crazy. I got scared that what is this anger? Where is it coming from? Why? And that's the time when my spiritual teacher, and it's so important when you do the dark feminine work to be held by someone else who has done this work, so that you really don't get caught up in your mind's interpretation of what's happening. So at the time, my shamanic teacher, she said to me that, in deciding to walk a real, honest spiritual path, you as a woman should expect to find a lot more anger in you than you really think it is. And what you will find is not just anger, but rage. And when she told me that, I kind of felt good in a way, secretly, like, okay, so I'm not going crazy. It's all fine. It happens to many others, looks like, so it's fine. Okay, I'll go with it. So this anger, this rage is usually a collective memory, either from things that are not resolved in our own lives, or it sometimes even comes from our maternal lineage. And this rage is, when we feel or think about anger, we think, how do I express it? But the beauty is that this is an emotion that doesn't want its expression for others, but its acceptance by you first. And when you do that, your creative juices open up. For me, it was a big opening of experiencing the level of creativity when I allowed my anger to just come out through various tantric Taoist practices. When I allowed that to come out and be seen, not as something to repress or afraid or an outcome, or a meaning to do something, or what, just a pure expression for myself, so that I meet that part of myself unconditionally, I felt lighter, and a deep sense of safety was, instilled, like this I am presence consciousness, like, yes, I am present with all aspects of myself, the light, the good, the bad, the truth, the ugly, whatever it is, because all of me make me happen, not just good.
Absolutely. Great sharing. Thank you. And it's a great example, anger. But what happens then when, instead of being with this anger, it's projected outside, right? Like in a way, like, I don't know, like someone throwing out things, saying things, getting mad, like at others in the outside world. So what would be the way to handle that?
Yeah, so this is so good. For me, it used to be, alcohol. Alcohol used to be the trigger, like, back in the days, like 4 or 5 drinks, and this aspect of me is out, which is like angry and upset and, crying. And I used to feel so guilty next day that, what is this? It's not me. So for us women specifically, there are certain times, and so it's so beautiful because everything is perfectly designed if we really choose to accept it and utilize it. So there are times during the new moon, so a couple of days during the new moons are when our dark feminine emotions are pretty high. It's good to work with that. It's good to look into that. There are times, a couple of days before, when we begin to bleed, when we begin to have our moon time. So that's the time, and we know these things. There are times also in intimate relationships. Our intimate relationships really bring out this dark feminine energy of us, because that's where we are so close. and our some suppressed emotions, whether it is with that person or not, comes out in distorted ways. So what I usually tell my clients is to have a practice to commune with the dark feminine energy on a regular basis. So commune with this part of yourself once a week, or once when you feel that things are coming up and you cannot handle it. Because what we do is we think that our anger needs to be inflicted. What we're doing is we're inflicting our poison onto someone else without even giving ourselves the time to process it by our own selves, right? And that's not conscious feminine. So I have this I have some support materials which I give to my clients, and we do it regularly in our community as well during the dark moon times or times before our periods. So every woman knows when her trigger, you know, is coming up, and dance with the dark feminine, meet with the dark feminine, see what she has to tell you, because she will always whisper to you. And we've got to not be afraid of this power or anger within ourselves, because this anger, when we meet, it always only transmutes into creativity. That's how major big changes in the world has taken place, through certain anger and rage of like, that's it, that's it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, you are saying that we get to embrace our dark side and look into what it has to say.
Yeah, and one more thing I forgot to mention, jealousy is another good way of tuning into our dark feminine in our lives. Often jealousy is seen as this bad emotion that we are, you know, feeling within ourselves. However, you know, in Tantra, we consider all emotions to be meaningful. There's nothing good or bad, but everything is meaningful for a reason. So jealousy really shows us what our dark feminine requires from us in that moment, or what our life requires for us. We are usually jealous of other person because there is a little bit of a desire inside of us that we are not allowing to express or embrace.
Wow. Thank you so much for your wisdom. And I have so many questions, so I guess that we will get to repeat this. So we are coming to an end, and I love to wrap up with an actionable step. How can we step into our feminine today? What would be like one little action or big action that someone could take today to step into that? And I also know that you have a wonderful gift, so tell us a bit about all this.
Oh, so it's so good. So this is connecting to the free gift, which is really good. So one of the simplest and most powerful ways to connect to your feminine is to connect with our womb space, which is called the feminine power center of our body, which is called the seat of the female body. So this womb space is 3 inches below our navel, and when we hold, touch, and do certain specific breathing on a regular basis, 1 or 2 minutes is more than enough, and listen to what our body is asking us, I think that's the beginning of a journey to return to our feminine essence. Really tuning in and listening, and then responding to what you heard as well. So oftentimes it doesn't really make sense to what our womb speaks, but you know, our womb is not logical, it's emotional. So it's a way of rebuilding that lost essence. I wouldn't say lost, but I think dormant essence inside of us. And my free gift is related to that. It's called Sensualize Your Womb. And where I have listed 7 rituals, 7 different practices to connect with your womb and begin your journey of feminine essence.
Oh, thank you so much. And what a wonderful gift. I'm looking forward to working on it, and I'm sure like our audience is looking forward to download it and apply it today. So underneath this video you have a link to your free gift. And thank you, Jonita. Thank you so much for today. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your power and for the inspiration.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Alina, for creating this platform and invoking these conversations.